starting with Syria's profile. Syrian army troops captured a neighborhood in the northern city of Aleppo 10 days after the government resumed its offensive on the besieged rebel-held eastern part of the city. The Syrian army said troops have seized full control of the eastern Hananu district in Syria's largest city. In addition, the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said troops now control most of the district. The observatory also said that since the government offensive resumed on East Aleppo on November 15th, 357 people have been killed in the city and nearby areas. On to Baghdad, Iraq's parliament on Saturday voted to accord full legal status to government-sanctioned Shiite militias as a backup and reserve force for the military and police and empower them to deter security and terror threats facing the country like the Islamic State group. The legislation, supported by 208 of the chamber's 327 members, was welcomed by Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi. Meanwhile, in Mosul, Iraqi military and hospital officials said mortar rounds fired by IS militants overnight and early on Saturday have killed 16 civilians in neighborhoods already retaken by troops. Meanwhile, more than 40 homes have been burned in a Jewish West Bank settlement and all 1,000 plus of its residents evacuated as firefighters continue battling blazes across the country for a fifth day. Police spokeswoman said Saturday's fire in Halamish erupted in several locations and quickly spread throughout the settlement, adding that several other fires were still raging. This comes as the blazes began 4 days ago near Jerusalem, backed by dry, windy weather. They later spread elsewhere. Moreover, hundreds of homes have been damaged and an international fleet of firefighting aircraft has arrived to assist. In Kuwait is voted on Saturday for representatives in the country's parliament. The snap elections were triggered by the emir's order to dissolve the previous legislature in October following cuts to welfare benefits and a hike in state-subsidized gasoline prices. Only a few of the 293 candidates running Saturday are seasoned politicians. From another aspect, the 50-member parliament has legislative powers and the authority to question ministers, including members of the ruling family. In Islamabad, a small group of militants armed with guns and suicide jackets attacked a mosque at an army facility in northwest Pakistan on Saturday, triggering a shootout in which 4 insurgents and 2 soldiers were killed. Military officials said 14 troops were also wounded in the attack on Ghalani camp in Mohmand, the tribal region bordering Afghanistan. They also said the security forces valiantly averted an attempted suicide attack and killed all 4 militants. The army added that the attackers were contained in the outer courtyard of the mosque. And going to Somalia, a car bomb exploded near a police station in a busy market in the Somali capital on Saturday, killing at least 11 people and injuring 16 others. The attack targeted the police station Mogadishu's Waberi neighborhood while President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud had been visiting a university, according to what police officials said. They added that the death toll was likely to rise, citing the horrific injuries suffered by the victims. But there was no claim of responsibility for the attack. On the other side of the world, South Korea is seeing its biggest wave of street demonstrations in decades. For the 5th straight weekend, masses of protesters occupied major avenues in downtown Seoul on Saturday, demanding the ouster of President Park Geun-hye. She is suspected of helping in the criminal activities of a secretive confidant who is accused of manipulating government affairs and extorting companies to build an illicit fortune. The rally renewed what has become a weekly back and forth between police and protest organizers, whose crowd estimates have differed widely. And finally, former President Fidel Castro, who led a rebel army to improbable victory in Cuba, embraced Soviet-style communism and defied the power of 10 U.S. presidents during his half-century rule, has died at age 90. President Raul Castro said on state television that his older brother died at 10:29 p.m. Friday. He ended the announcement by shouting the revolutionary slogan, "Toward victory always." Castro, who survived a crippling U.S. trade embargo as well as dozens of assassination plots, died 10 years after ill health forced him to hand power over to his brother Raul.